Start by making a slip knot. I make mine like this, but you can make it however you like. Now pull the loop tight so you can put your hook into it. To build the foundation of our chick, we will start by making 13 chain. Wrap the yarn around your hook, pull it through the loop on your hook to make a chain. If you want a bigger chick, chain more. If you want a smaller chick, chain less. When you are done, it should look something like this. You can count how many chain you've done by counting the V's. You see here's one here, here's a second one. For round 1, we will make 3 single crochet into the second chain from the end. Hook through the chain, wrap the yarn to pull through the chain, then you have 2 on your hook, wrap the yarn and pull through both. In the same space, make another single crochet, pull through 1, then pull through 2. Then we'll make 1 more. Pull through 1, pull through 2. To make sure we have 3 stitches in the same chain, we can count the V's just like we did to count the chains. Now we are going to do 1 single crochet in every chain until the very last chain. Find the next chain, crochet hook through the chain, pull through 1 and then pull through 2. Next chain, pull through 1, pull through 2. Keep going until you get to the end. In the final chain, what we're going to do is we're going to do 4 single crochet, 1, then we'll do a second one here. Then we will turn our work slightly and we will do the second 2 onto the other side right here. I tend to hold the tail on the other side for the second 2 just to make sure we get it around. Do the final single crochet into the same spot. Now you should have 4 single crochet into the final chain. You can count the stitches like we did before by counting the V's. Now we're going to work on the underside of the chain and we're going to do single crochet into every space. 1, then into the next one we'll do another one here. Make sure you go underneath both of those strands here. Pull through 1 and then pull through 2. Now find the next one. You can see it's underneath both of these strands. Hook through the space, pull through 1, pull through 2. Continue until you get to the very end. I've now reached the very end, and if you can remember, we've only done 3 single crochet into the first chain on this end, which makes it asymmetric. We're going to do 1 final single crochet into that first chain space. That will mean now we have 4 single crochet on each end chain. Now we will have stitches on both sides of our work. This means we can now start working in the round. Locate the first single crochet that we've done, and we're going to do 1 single crochet in there. Now we're just going to work in the round. This means that there will be no joining. So if you want to keep track of how many rows you've got, I tend to put stitch marker in just to remember where the beginning is. I always do the first stitch of the round and then put my stitch marker into that stitch. From now on, we are always going to do 1 single crochet in every stitch. So locate the next stitch, go underneath both strands, then do your single crochet. Make sure you go under both strands, so below the V if you're looking on top. Continue to do single crochet all the way around until you get back to the very beginning. When you're back at the beginning, remove your stitch marker. Then, just like any other stitch, you're going to do your first single crochet into there. Once you've done your single crochet, what you'll do is you'll put your stitch marker back into the single crochet that you've just done, and then you'll continue to go around like this for about 12 to 13 rows. After we've done a few rows, you'll notice that the work is starting to curl up. We'll now turn our work inside out so that the right side, or the side that's usually on top of your crochet, will be on the outside. Once you've crocheted 12 to 13 rows, it should look something like this. Fold your work like this to make it look like a triangle, and then see if you're happy with this size. The next step is to crochet the body together. The way we'll do that is we will find the center of the work and we will do single crochet out to about that far, or a quarter of a round. You can count the stitches out, or you can do what I did and fold it in half and take the middle one. I like to put a stitch marker in so I can see. Now that you've done single crochet halfway along the body, fold the two current ends of the chick's body together to make that the center of the crochet. Now the place that you've just crocheted to should be the new end. We are going to single crochet the body together. Put your hook through the front side, which is closest to you, then through the stitch on the back side as well, making sure they're lined up properly. Now you'll pull the yarn through both and finish off your single crochet. Move to the next stitch and go through the first one and then through the back side as well. Make sure you're going through both loops of the back side single crochet to make sure it's nice and secure. Once you've crocheted the body clothes just over about halfway, it's time to stuff it. When you're adding the stuffing, make sure you put it down into all the corners down at the very bottom so that the chick is evenly stuffed. When you've finished stuffing your chick, it should be nice and plump and very squishy when you squish it. We'll now return to crocheting the body back together. Continue to do so with single crochet just as you had before. Go through the front and then the back, making sure that you go over the top of the stuffing. Make sure you go through the last single crochet along the row. You have two options now. You can finish off here, or you can slip stitch back along and make a tail. I like to make a tail because it adds one extra thing that you can play with. To do so, flip your work around and we'll now slip stitch along to the center. Put your hook through the stitch, pull it through one and then pull it through the second one. That is one slip stitch. Slip stitch to the center and then chain out about 30. If you want a small tail, chain less. If you'd like a longer tail, chain more. Starting from the second chain from your hook, you're going to do 3 single crochet into every chain along the chain. This is 1. Now into that same one, we will do another single crochet, pull through 2, then we'll do one final one here, pull through both, and now we've got 3. Now move on to the next one and then all the way along. Once we finish all of our single crochet, we're going to slip stitch back into the body of your chick. Put it through the body, pull through the body and pull through 1. Now we'll finish off the work by chaining 1, then we'll cut the yarn and then pull it all the way through. Then give it a nice tight tug. We're now going to sew in the ends. Locate the stitch just below where the yarn starts and put your needle through there. It might need a little bit of a push if you've crocheted a little bit tightly. Pull it through like this. Then what you're going to do is weave it through the body just like this and then push it all the way through to the other side. If a little bit of stuffing comes out, just shove it back in and then pull the yarn all the way through. Pull it so that there's a little indent on the other side. Then if you cut it like that, the yarn will retract into the body and there'll be no risk of it coming out. Give him a nice squish to remove the indent. To make the beak, make a slip knot and then chain 2 in the color you want. I chose orange, but you can choose whatever color you'd like. In the first chain we made, we're going to do 3 single crochet. Put your hook through the chain, pull it through 2, do another one into that chain there, and then we will do one more into that chain. Pull it through, wrap and pull through 2. I've got my yarn hooked here. Make sure you don't catch your tail like I did. Chain 1 and then flip your work. We will now do 2 single crochet into each of these 3 stitches. 1, wrap and pull through, and do 1 more into the same spot. Do the same for the last 2. When we've finished the row, we should end up with the semicircle. You'll then have a look to see if it's the right size. Fold it down the center line and then you can see how big the beak will be. I like to fold it over and then put it up against the bird just to see how big it is and whether it's the right size or not. I'm happy with this size, but if you're not happy and you want it a little bit bigger, what you can do is chain 1 and then increase like we did just in this previous row. I like to sew the beak together before I put it on the chick. This is how I like to thread my needle. Wrap the yarn over the outside of the needle, then squeeze it tight between your fingers. Then you remove the needle and you should be able to slip in the tiny little bit of yarn left in your fingers, and that should be much easier. Fold the beak down the center, and now we're going to stitch it together. Put your needle through both sides of the beak and pull the yarn nice and tight. Then from the same side, go through the next stitch. Then from the same side, go through the next stitch again. This will save any further fiddling when you're sewing the beak onto the chick. Once you've stitched together the entire row, what you'll do is you'll come back into the same stitch you just put your needle through. Then you're going to go back through the loop that you just made and pull tight. That'll give you a nice knot, just so that the yarn doesn't come undone. Find the stitch next to the knot and put your needle through. Pull the yarn through so there's none left on the outside. Place your beak on the chick. Then you'll use the other tail to go through the body of the chick and sew it together. I just pick stitches next to where the beak is and just go through every stitch around it. Doesn't have to be perfect, just has to stay on. You'll do this all the way around. Needle into the body of the chick, needle into the chick's beak. Move on to the next stitch in the body, next stitch in the beak. That way you'll go in a full loop all the way to the end. When you get to the end, we'll do a knot just like we did when we were finishing off the beak. Put the yarn through the stitch next to where the knot is, then put your needle back through the loop that you just made, pulling it nice and tight. I like to do at least one more knot just like that before I will hide the yarn away just like we did when we did the tail. For eyes, I love to give them long, luscious lashes. Pick your eye color and cut 2 long strands of them. Fold them over and then thread them on your needle like this, so you should have 2 loops through your needle. Pull them through about this far. Pick where you want your eyes to be and put the needle through there. You might need to use a little bit of force because there is a lot of yarn coming through. Give it a good yank and then pull through so the loops are at the top and you still have the tail ends down the bottom. To do the knot, we will twist our looped yarn in a figure 8 at the top. Then fold the top part behind the loop, just like this. Take the tail ends from below, then you'll thread it up through the loops above. I like to twist the yarn just a little bit so it's easier to pull through. Make sure you've got all strands through and start pulling tight. You'll notice that some of the loops don't pull as tight as others. Perhaps individually pull through each strand if they don't tighten enough when you pull them all together. Do your second eye, and then once you're done, cut the eyelashes to the length that you want. I think this is about the right length for this little chick. And now the chick's got eyes. You've finished your chick. Good job!